so some of the notes from last time, we had a good discussion, and I think we had 12 or so people participate, and it was really healthcare AI mastermind participants engaged in many kind of level or multifaceted dialogue with integration of AI in healthcare. The session began with a reflection on just the digital detox of the holidays because it was right after the holidays. Then we introduced highlights, each participant, their expertise in the field. We had medical doctors, as we do, I think, today as well, at least one, and digital healthcare, medical commercialization, policy advisors from the legal field, and then we had IT techs leading the tech for one of the health departments in the US, one of the regions of that, and then discussing the balance between AI and healthcare. So, I mean, AI and human interaction, right? One of the key areas is, what parts are AI, which parts are human, which parts are needed in patient care, weighing both the benefits and the challenges of AI implementation on the healthcare system. Key topic has included the cost effectiveness of AI for medical education, complexities of AI generated clinical notes, and the potential future impact of AI in healthcare costs and patient care. And then the meeting concluded with actions for networking and suggestions for future topics, along with the next gathering. All right. So that's a little brief summary. Okay, so now we're going to turn it over to the participants. I'm done with the majority of my main speaking sections. And so let's have you all introduce yourself, what your field is, what topics you're working on, whether it's directly healthcare, AI, something else in that field. I think I'll go Jack, Patrick. So Andrew, Jack, Patrick, you guys can do your introductions first.
Jack Dabrowski. I'm here. I've got a background in healthcare marketing, but by that I mean healthcare connection of consumers to the care, both on the front end in influencing them to take care of themselves with influential messaging and all the marketing and martech that goes along with that, through finding the care that they need through health health tech data and connecting them into the EHR record. So that's my background on the healthcare side. I've also got a 10-year history of medical device and diagnostic kit commercialization and marketing and global marketing and placement. But that's not for this forum. So, but yeah, here just representing the front end of consumer interfaces and potentially places people use technology in those spaces.
Awesome. Thanks for being part of it, Jack. Patrick, would you like to introduce yourself?
Yeah, Patrick Lozon. I'm a project and product manager. Been in the IT space for most of my career. I'm actually in between opportunities right now, but I do, my partner in crime, we put out a weekly podcast where we talk about AI and technology and how it's being modified, influenced, and how it intersects with other technologies. So this is really interesting for me because I've a vested interest in the healthcare industry as well. So that's why I'm here.
Awesome. Thank you, Patrick. And let's see, now I have Deval and Ravi, and I'm picking people that are on screen first. And so those of you that aren't on screen would love to have you on screen, but I will go around even folks that are not on video have a chance to introduce themselves.
Sure, I'll go first. Hi, this is Dhaval. I'm here in Atlanta, Georgia, working in healthcare for more than 17 years now. Work with different payer side, now working with provider side. I am a solution architect, working enterprise architect for many organization. We are providing a healthcare IT solution, LLM-based digital solution in our organization, and also our digital strategies and compliance guidelines. So overall, we work with any companies from startup to mid-scale, any companies who are making revenues less than 15 million. That's mainly we work with to build their ideas from the scratch all the way to their go to the market, and they can, after once we launch to the market, they can ready to get a funding on it and go to the next round. Yeah, that's all about me. Thank
All
you.
right. Thank you, Deval. Ravi, do you want to do your introduction?
Hi, everybody. This is Ravi Komatareddy. I'm a medical doctor by training, but deep experience in digital health and entrepreneurship. I'm here in Austin, Texas, working on a current startup called Daytona Health. So what we do, we're a consumer digital health startup that makes it stupidly simple to live a healthier, longer, more productive life. And we do that through combining kind of precision medicine and advanced diagnostics with personalized lifestyle coaching, plus kind of the right meds and supplements on top of that, kind of powered by both humans right now and AI in the future, so we can get faster, better, and scale. That's kind of our main focus for our company. Our secret sauce is really the psychology of it and how we can use AI to break down the psychology of people and kind of, in some cases, positively persuade them to the right behaviors, in other cases, emotionally blackmail them. Whatever it takes, we do it. So that's us.
All right. Nice introduction, Ravi. Appreciate that. And I'm going to go to the guests, and then Kristen, I'll give you an opportunity at the end to just introduce yourself as well. So let's see, Rodrigo, would you like to introduce yourself?
Hello, guys. Sorry, can you hear me right?
Yep.
Yeah, perfect. Thank you. So I'm working in Medinexo. We focus on clinical research. We are a global healthcare collaboration network, and we have many sites, and we connect sponsors with the sites, and we are gathering real-world data or real-world evidence with our sites, and we are implementing AI to that data to have better medications, better solutions for healthcare. And yeah, that's basically what we do.
Awesome. Thank you, Rodrigo. Appreciate that.
But my name is Kemi. I'm from Lagos, Nigeria, and I have a background from university in biomedical science. But I spent the majority of my career working in marketing, and as a business and operations person. Right now, I run a spatial computing company called Floats. And what we do is we design experiences, products, and just general solutions for brands or other companies who are trying to, usually our most used use cases in marketing, brands who are trying to stand out, or just build like experiences that immerse their audiences. And we're also playing around in the AI space with AI agents. But personally, I'm trying to build a product, a mental health product that sort of incorporates all of these XR tools and AI as well to support people who have brain or mental health related challenges. So that's what I do.
Thank you, Kemi. All right. Appreciate that introduction. And let's see, do we want to go back over to Nini? Are you ready, or she's out right now?
I am here. Can you hear me?
And we can see you. Beautiful.
Sorry, I'm not really camera ready, but that's okay. So, hi everyone, I'm Nini, and right now I'm in between jobs and I'm looking for opportunities and also learn more about AI and see where I can add more value and contribute. So I have a undergrad degree in biology, and I also have a master's in predictive analytics. But unfortunately, I didn't get to use my master degree that much. But I have been working. I had worked as a project manager at the healthcare since my undergrad degree is in biology. A lot of my experience is in working in the lab, all sorts of different kind of lab, research lab, clinical lab, quality control lab, and I work with a lot of testing and a lot of equipment and devices. But now I'm in between job and I'm looking for more opportunity and maybe even work with AI. So
Awesome. And Nini participates in whoops, a whole bunch of people just joined in. Nini participates in part of the Eprenz group. She comes in and gives us advice and insights at time to time as well. And she's in Northern Virginia. Not that geography is always relevant. All right, so we just had, I think, 5 people join in. And so what we were just doing, Kimmy, thanks for getting yourself on video. Appreciate that. That's awesome. And so if the people who just joined in, what we're doing is introducing the folks who are in the room. And then we're going to then go into a little bit of session on delivering AI in the healthcare space. So let's see, if you come on video, you'll be called faster, if that matters to you. Maybe that's a disincentive for some. Bob, would you like to introduce yourself?
How's everyone doing? My name's Bob Chibb, and I basically run a company called Kaleidoscope Health Ventures, which is focused on basically helping startups as well as corporations in terms of advising and consulting.
Awesome. Thanks. Welcome as part of this. And Jeff, I have you next. Do you want to go ahead and introduce yourself?
Yeah, hello everybody. I'm here to learn. It's my first meeting. I've been in digital health for the last 10 years from a business development perspective. And I'm here just to network and learn how AI is changing things.
All right, great. And I will re-articulate kind of what we're doing, which is it's kind of a mastermind group in some way. And so it's a participatory thing. It's not a webinar today, just everyone has the understanding of the context. It's group discussion on topics that are of interest. Have I missed anyone? Christian, I said I'd give you an opportunity to introduce yourself. Why don't you introduce yourself as well?
Hi, everyone. I am Christian, and basically I'm in engineering field, but I didn't practice it. I'm more on marketing and sales, and I am thrilled actually to be part of the Eprenz committee as a committee manager. And I joined Eprenz just over a month ago, and in this short time, I have already witnessed the incredible impact that this platform has on like-minded entrepreneurs, okay, professionals and business leaders worldwide. What drew me to Eprenz is its commitment to empowering individuals and fostering meaningful connections that drive real success. And as a community manager, I am actually honored to contribute this mission by supporting and engaging with our growing community of over 140,000 members. And my goal is to help individuals maximize their potential and connect with valuable opportunities and ultimately create a lasting impact in their respective industries. And I see this is a journey to build history, to help everyone to become a meaningful impact. Okay, and that's it. Thank you.
Thanks, Christian. And I'm David Wagstaff. I'm Chief Dream Maker and founder at Eprenz. We're a global community of over 140,000 entrepreneurs, as Christian said. We're on a mission to transform their journey to success. Today, 90% of small businesses fail. We have the members there, and our mission is to help support over 90% in succeeding. We help them start, grow, and profit from their business. Okay, that's a little bit about Eprenz. The preface for this event is we had an event in September that was really well attended, and lots of people out of that asked to have a deeper conversation on AI in healthcare. So today we're about AI in healthcare, and I'm going to move on to, let's talk about the tools of AI in healthcare, and specifically on the kind of care provider patient side of it. The way I'm going to do this for right now is let people just jump in and share what they would like to share. You can raise your virtual hand or your real hand if you're on screen. And I will try to call on people. Virtual hand's nice because then it kind of lines up in order that people raise the point or question. So does someone want to jump in on that topic and share your thoughts, your insights, your experience? I'm thinking, Ravi, you often have good insights, so you may want to jump in, but anyone can.
Jump in. Sorry, repeat that last part that you just said real quick so I can.
Yep. So the topic we're going to discuss today is the impact of AI on end user care providers and patients. I know when you did your introduction, you talked about Daytona Health really driving, making it easy. Lifestyle change is easy. It sounds challenging to make it easy, but maybe share your experience.
Yeah, I
on
think there's
end
3
user
points
care.
there I'd make. One is, so look at our clinicians. They're really minimally they're medical doctors. I mean, most of lifestyle change is the experts that hold the keys there are not us MDs, right? We're not the real experts there. We do some part of that, but most of what you're talking about, kind of allied health professionals like health coaches, personal trainers, dietitians, and folks like that. Health coaches being kind of the primary QBs in our process. So when you think about, our clients, most behavior change, the things that are going to affect whether you die early or die from disease are these choices we're all making at home and at work, right? That's where we spend most of our time. Those are the choices that matter. So we got to get people out to our company has to get our services out to you where those decisions are being made. Like, so on your phone, when you're at home, when you're at work, or running errands, or those things. Like, that's where you spend most of your minutes. So for us, it's like the first question was, hey, are we going to replace people at some point completely? Like, are there some percentage of people that just are going to be okay with no human end users from our standpoint having interacting with the AI system? It's just like you got this AI coach that's helping you make the right healthier decisions that day. We quickly, from our collective experiences and just kind of our philosophy on this, I say no. I think it's kind of some combination of humans and AI. The second is from our users, like our health coaches, they can either get benefit from this by one of 2 ways. One is an internal facing kind of Gen AI solution where it's like, hey, like our director of coaching, Laurel, she's got her own style. She is using kind of our methodology to create the messages, but they still have her kind of flair. And it's like, can the Gen AI just, when she's going to go send a nudge to somebody, like when we detect, for example, someone's heart rate variability or heart rate is high, their stress level is high, we know that they had like a full morning of meetings, we actually are going to predict that person's going to eat like crap or has a higher propensity to, just because of stress. You're eating, your lunch is, you're going to make a bad choice or something like that. We can send a nudge out to prevent them from doing that, or at least kind of nudge them a better direction. Do we just have the AI do it by itself? Which is the ideal thing. So it just completely saves us time, right? It just says, this is the right message we got to send based on the context and the patient and everything. Or do we just kind of have a more kind of an intermediate step? That's the first thing is ideal, what you really want. Take the human out of the loop and make it so Laurel's voice is coming through. Not to make it so that we're fooling the person. It's just this AI is part of the care team. Or second, do we still have Laurel do it, but it's just when she's doing it and sitting in front of our coaching side application, here's the 5 things that you usually would say in this case. All you got to do is press one number on the keyboard or click one thing that says 1 to 5. So it's like, where do we get the time savings, right? The last one I just mentioned is the obvious one. That's like, yes, that would be awesome. If it learns from Laurel so well, it just goes, Laurel's style is this. This is the context of the patient. I'm going to do some fancy math and figure out what to say. Give me something. I'm going to give her some options. That would be awesome. That would save. We actually timed this out. It takes 3.5 to 4 minutes at least to make a really good persuasive nudge. If Gen AI can develop 5 combinations within 10 or 15 seconds, I'll take it. That saves a lot of time for my coaches, a ton of time. And that translates to real dollars and cents, right? Because one of our biggest metrics of success as a business and efficiency is the unit economics. Like, what's our cost of goods and services? And if I can only have like 25 people per coach, that's bad. If I have 200 people per coach, that's a lot better, and still keep that personalization. So that's how we're thinking about it. That intermediate step is something we're going after right away. Although we do suspect that some types of messages, especially more of the encouragement messages, right? Hey, you're doing a great job. We saw you just did a 5-minute walk after a meal. That kind of thing can be automated and sent out with little reason to think that would backfire on us. So those are the kind of, like, we're staging it out. And part of it's because we know the technology is not completely ready for like the awesome AI health coach from like we see in the movies. But also it's like a lot of our health coaches, they're not as you can imagine where a company grows to where you have like 2,000 health coaches or something. Like not all of them are going to be the experts in the AI world on Gen AI, right? So kind of we have to teach them too, and we have to kind of figure that out, right? How do we teach our team to onboard them correctly onto these tools? And that's going to take time and energy too. So that's how we're thinking about it.
Awesome, Robbie. Thanks. I'm just going to mention, I see Marin, you joined, as well as, just Kevin, you were on, but we couldn't hear you before because I think audio, and then someone else just joined in as well. What we're doing is a bit of kind of mastermind session. We will have 2 key questions that you all can talk about, discuss. I encourage this to be active participation. Thank you, Robbie, for getting us started. The first question that we have is, AI end user effectiveness, or how it affects caregivers and providers. The second question we'll have in about 15 minutes is, what are the challenges patients or participants are currently facing? What are the challenges you're facing in either developing AI, using AI, or other things? It may be specifically in medical care, or the way you're developing your platform, or the way you're developing products like Jack may be doing in part of product management, okay? And so I want this to be super participative, so I would like you to raise your hands to speak on the topic that we have, and then what the second topic is. And we did a vote earlier, and people are kind of voting, hoping for about a 60-minute session, which means we'll try to break up at about 2:30 Eastern time, okay, this afternoon. All right. Patrick, thanks for volunteering to speak next. What are your thoughts?
Sure. There's an interesting conversation, Ravi, that you brought up about having an AI health assistant and building up a model around that. I'm not sure what the appetite is in the public for something like that. But moving forward, and let's talk about healthcare, proactive healthcare. I don't think there's a lot of appetite to have, we're unmonitored, prompted responses from an AI element. I think it's all about AI augmentation that we're really looking at here. And what I mean by that is, let's say it's telemedicine, you call in, you have a problem as a public person, you have your kid's sick or something, and you talk to a 1-800 help me, line. And this could also be, go on a website or whatever the access is. But essentially, you get to a person. That person then advises you what's best, your best next actions are, or gives you the advice to go to emergency, let's say. That being said, I know there's a lot of legal things and such, but the idea being that I don't see that being replaced with AI, but I do see that role being supported by AI, right? That person on the other side of that phone or advising on the website would be optimally supported by AI through a point of view of diagnosis and prompting and helping solve the problem of whatever that person is that called in. So I see that. I also see that being utilized in the same fashion from your standard everyday doctor, right? Where you have somebody comes in, we have there's basically 20 minutes to a half hour maybe maximum, and they basically say, here's my symptoms, please diagnose me and make me feel better. If you really think about it, a lot of doctors are working on the 80% rule, what they've seen before, right? So it's the 20% that don't get served. They don't get the right diagnosis, right? And they end up going through the system far too many times. And this is where I think augmentation by AI to help discern the actual, issue with an individual. And given the fact that, doctors are very busy, they don't necessarily have the time to stay up to date on everything that's going on in the healthcare world. This type of technology could be very valuable to them as long as they engage. That's my 2 cents worth.
Thank you, Patrick, for sharing that. I'll also mention if anyone wants to share their contact details, feel free to put it in the chat. A number of people were not on when I mentioned that earlier. And if you're on video, it's easier to kind of call on you. So I welcome people, encourage them to be on video. Deval, if you'd like to share your thoughts as well.
Yes. Okay. Thank you. Thanks for the opportunity. And yes, I agree with what Patrick and Ravi mentioned. I just want to add a few more things into it. So healthcare, right? In US, healthcare is already an segment or umbrella, which is people are very scared to do any changes, major changes. And that's why technology wise, if we see the healthcare is a little bit behind in terms if we compare with the other segment like finance or supply chain, those kind of things. So bringing an AI in healthcare, we really have to find a real problem. For example, one of the major problem going on in healthcare from long time is interoperability, clinical data exchange. We cannot able to connect successfully two EHRs together until 2019. Then the interoperability law came up, and now there are so many interoperability tools are coming in. So many different HL7 Fire or those different protocols came in. Identifying the niche, right, in healthcare where there is a really we can improve the patient life, bring a value-based care, or I would say there are some common challenges where so one of the challenge you can consider like just referral in healthcare process when PCP is giving a referral to a specialist. It goes through so many manual hoops and where your clinician has to write a referral, send a document, scan the document, go through the system, book the appointment for the patient, and the actual patient is not getting appointment for many weeks. This is just I'm giving an example of one of the problem, but these problems if we can solve using the AI. Now this is a problem I'm mentioning. There is another problem in the population health as well going on in the treatment arm. I mean, I would say 90% of the people still does not understand the clinical data really well. Okay, how they should be transferred, how should be formatted, and all that. So if I move on to the solution using AI, LLM, there are agentic niche models are getting generated in AI. So the tools we are talking about, our original question, what should be the tools getting involved? So all these problems individually focused on either individual segments in the healthcare or niche to that particular facility, but there are AI agents which are getting created now slowly. But if we can focus on specific niche problem and design our AI agent or model around it, it will be really helpful. And slowly, what are the uh, clerical errors or manual errors, what we are facing, the operational issue or the time delay issue, compliance and security issue, all these can be resolved using this AI agent plus LLM, dedicated LLMs. Now there are many LLMs just designed to process the healthcare data. So consider that if we are using generalistic open AI framework, it will not fit for healthcare in each and every case. Plus, it will violate a lot of security and compliance issues. So my thought is, obviously, working in a healthcare is required domain expertise. That's the first thing. If you are not a domain expert, it's very hard time. You will face a hard time to figure it out the real problem. And second thing, choosing a right tool. I mean, all these problems, if you don't map with the right tool, you are keep spending your money on the research and figuring out the things and doing the stuff manually again. So whenever any industry, I mean, now we are working with many organizations, we saw they're even facing the challenges for the integrations because their existing infrastructure itself is not implemented correctly in the first place. And now if they are trying to integrate with CMS, they're trying to integrate with other electronic health record, they're trying to integrate with QHIN, they are facing tremendous challenges. So domain knowledge, expertise, and proper planning is very important for choosing the right tool here.
So can I respond to that quickly, David?
Yeah.
So this is Ravi again. So guys, I'd love to get your thoughts on this. So here's a real world example I think that could put all this into some perspective. I had a client, patient, last weekend. Now, poor guy, very high functioning at baseline, and sold his company to Google, AI engineer, post exit, had COVID in 2022 and still hasn't recovered. Long COVID, had a $500 to $600,000 workup. Okay, now part of this, I was like, okay, the AI hype, right? So look, where are we with the AI hype? So he said, hey, Ravi, can you just help me? I'm trying to make sense of all these labs and stuff, and I think I'm pretty smart, but I've got COVID fog brain, and all one and two, it's like I'm not trained in this, I don't know how to. And he's like, I've tried to put some stuff to ChatGPT or whatever, and I don't know. I'm like, what do you mean? And he goes, well, I uploaded my PDFs of my labs. Okay, so just send me a Google Drive folder with everything. So I sat there on a Saturday. It took 3.5 hours for me to go through every single thing manually, every lab result, every SPECT scan, every CT brain, every EKG, you name it, he had it. Tilt table testing, psychoneurological monitoring. Data was in PDF form, numbers on tables, kind of like tables on the PDF, written notes from the doctors, and then the waveforms. So like the EKGs, they had the waveforms. I also had like the actual images on the radiology, all those things. So a huge chunk of time. I mean, 4 hours. So right there, I'm just like, where's my AI assistant to do that? Like, there's nothing turnkey. So I spent another hour just to kind of let me just see if this works, right? So I put it all into ChatGPT, which took forever because it only takes 10 files at a time. So to your point, Devil, it's like this was never designed for this necessarily, right? For this use case. I'm sure it can be with a bigger context window for all the different things. But that being said, if something, I did take the time, I batched them in, and I made a huge prompt. I was like, this is like what I'm doing. This is what I want you to pretend you are, this clinician. I want a comprehensive report. Give me the prognosis in addition to this history, summarize the results, all this stuff. And it was horrible. Like I put it all in, had the prompt, tried different iterations. It was nowhere near as comprehensive as.
In home health, I tried that already. What you're just saying, yeah, home health documents are unstructured,
And then, well, I even said, hey, forget about the analysis. Just give me a timeline of like labs over time and what the noted trends you've seen. And it missed a lot of stuff. Obviously, it'll get better at that, right? But this is what I'm like, as an end user, that would have saved me 3.5 hours. Now, if I'm charging somebody $300 an hour, or $400 an hour, it's a lot of money. It's a lot of time that I could be spending on another patient or whatever. So one of my big questions is in the future with healthcare, it's like, should a doctor's opinion by default always be a second opinion, right? Where the first opinion is AI first? That's like one thing I always wonder. It's like, is that really where we're headed? That'd be great. I'd be happy to give a second opinion after ChatGPT gives me some kind of, or House MD GPT gives me the analysis first. And the second thing I'll just point out really quickly is, have you ever wondered why doctors use some stuff and adopt it really quickly, and other stuff it just seems like they never pay attention, even though you spent thousands of hours of sales cycles trying to sell up into a health system or talk to doctors to get their time? I've noticed there's three things that if you're trying to get a doctor decision maker to pay attention to your product, service, business, whatever. You have to hit one of these three. If you don't, I find it almost really difficult for you to get attention. You either have to sell them on like whatever you're selling is going to save them time, save them money, or improve their reputation amongst their peers or patients. We care about patients and want to make them better is kind of like by default. I don't even mention that list. But if you're not hitting those three, just be like, hey, your patients are going to get better. It's not going to cut it for them. It's like, you're going to make them more money. You're going to save them time. And if you can do all those three things, and make them famous, they're done. They'll be the first to adopt your new AI, your new system, your new EHR.
Agree. But I would say on that your first point that doctor's opinion is not a second opinion. I would say doctor's opinion should be still for a couple of years should be a final opinion, because our AI is not ready yet to make any decision or a final diagnosis decision. I would say diagnosis related decision still we still should rely on the doctor, because all the clinical studies knowledge we feed into the AI, we optimize the AI, but there are certain things which doctor and patient, they know each other, they discuss, they talk in person. Those things we cannot train to the AI at this point. So we still have to, at I mean, eventually we probably get there, but still a doctor's opinion should be the final opinion in those studies.
Well, thanks for that. Jack, you have your hand up. I'm also going to mention the next question coming up for people to think about is what are personal challenges you're having with AI? Personal challenges may mean your business, right? What are blocks that you're having? And maybe getting insights from the rest of the group on solutions on that. And again, if you're on video, more likely to be called on, I'll see you, whatnot. Yeah. So Jack, let me go ahead. You can go ahead.
Yeah, so to speak to actually both Deval's and Ravi's points, we were heavy in our health system in not only going through that whole tying of the CMS to the EHR to the CRM, all that. We did all that, but the reality of it was exactly what you were seeing, Ravi. We had troubles with. We didn't need AI. We actually tied it to a medical health library, and the medical health library it didn't get where exactly what you need, a summary of all the things, right? But at least it was my chart with Epic, right? My chart, they made it such that if you had multiple tests, it would pull up your test and show your trend over time. And that was great, but it was limited to, I think, our health system. I don't know if it's every health system, but and you had to do it independently for each test type. But my point was, like, through maybe a third-party mediator, like a medical health library, you might be able to pull a combination of AI, medical health library, and your EHR to actually make some sense. Because if the medical health library or whatever algorithm that was could do that, it's almost like you need the structure for AI to do its job. So just something to think about there, that we were close, and maybe you just need that third thing to make it work. So
Okay.
just a thought. And carrying on. That's all I got.
Thanks. I'm going to give a chance for Marin to introduce themselves, and also Cassidy, if you all would like to introduce yourself.
Hey there. Sorry, I'm trying to turn my video on. Okay, it's working. Apologies, late to the party. Great discussion. My name is Marin Joseph. I'm the CIO for All Care. We are a primary care, immediate care business, primarily in the DMV market and in Georgia. So I let you guys continue, but thank you for including me.
And this is a participative discussion, so anyone can jump in at any time. If you would like to speak up, please raise your hand. That way I'll make sure. Otherwise, I will call on some people if I don't have enough hands raised up. But let's see. Next, I think I have Cassidy. Would you like to introduce yourself? I don't think we've heard from you yet. And thanks for being here, Marin. Cassidy? No. Is there anyone else that has not had a chance to introduce themselves on the call that would like to at least do a shout out? And everyone, feel free to put your contact info in the chat. I see Jeff has done that. You can put your contact details in there if you want to have discussions with other people outside of this event. Okay, if not, I'm going to move on to the next question, which is, what are the challenges that you're facing, and how do you believe AI can provide a solution? Okay, we'll spend about 10 minutes on this topic.
Okay, well, let's just first start with the fact, Rowdy was talking about being able to pull the whole plethora of a particular, patient's records and information, and be able to assimilate all that information and build out what we'll call a compiled and analyzed result, right? Just doing that, like a timeline, like here's what's been done, here's what's, I don't know, what should be done, that kind of thing in the future. I'm kind of laying it out from a point of view of logic, right? And that's perfectly healthy or perfectly capability of an AI, I would think. But if you look at the AI models that are being built today, the LLMs and such, they're very specialized, right? There's nothing out there that's working from a very generalistic approach, which is, we'll just go to ChatGPT and try it there. But ChatGPT has not been trained on that data. It really, in order to really do an effective job here, there has to be a corporate entity out there that's willing to spend the money to build this, fairly extensive model, right? And if they do, then what is the business? What's the business model? How are they going to make their money off this, right? And I think that's the challenge. You can have the individual, delineators, like somebody working in radiology or pathology or something. If they have a system and they want to improve that system, they'll incorporate AI into it. But if you're looking at a generalistic approach, I'm not sure there's anybody out there. I haven't seen anybody. That's my 2 cents.
Thanks for sharing that. Appreciate it. Maren, would you like to share on that topic? Or
Yeah. My thoughts on it is that all of us who are part of a health system, we are handcuffed to the EMR we are currently using. The integration points with the EMR vendors are limited, or what it could be done, which limits what AI could do also, right? So our biggest challenge is breaking that barrier. Then only we could make some meaningful impact with AI in the healthcare space.
Yeah.
that makes a
And
lot of sense.
that's, yeah,
Powerful.
we don't talk about the the elephant in the room, right? I mean, that they're not making enough investments on it to move the agenda also.
Makes a lot of sense. So thanks for sharing that as discussion point. All right. Does anyone want to raise another problem they're having? Hey, Kevin, there you are. You want to speak up? You can introduce yourself. You can comment on what Maren talked about with challenges with EMR.
Okay. Kevin Brake, currently residing in Newfoundland, creator of Olama Kiss. So I've been doing this for quite a while, and I'm really enjoying it. I'm loving the conversation, looking forward to seeing everybody's perspective. I wasn't really planning on being on camera. So that's why I look a little bit more relaxed than normal. But yeah, it's a good conversation. I'm liking where we're going. One of the things that, well, there was a bunch of things, but one of the interesting things was the ability to add new data into your LLM, right? So you build out your RAG, and then they're talking about now a CRAG, which is content retrieval augmented generation, instead of just standard retrieval augmented generation. And there's a lot of cool stuff going on with that. So we had this sort of like a digestive tool. So it would take all of the documents, convert them into vector. Then from there, those documents would go into our LLM. But one of the things we needed to keep track of as documents changed, we needed to be able to go in and either update it, remove it, append it, something. So one of the things that we were doing was a customized front-end interface that was different from the default interfaces, like for Open Web UI, right? Because Open Web UI got a little bit too much on the screen, a little bit too much information, too many options, gets a little confusing for the regular person. And then we're looking at the distribution and access to the backend system that we're building. How are they going to reach it? How are we going to handle the bandwidth load? Do we offsource it? So there's a lot of stuff that we're looking into and we're involved with on our end. So I'm just sharing my 2 cents for it.
Definitely appreciate it, Kevin. Thank you.
Okay.
All right, we're coming to the bottom of the hour. People generally requested 60 minutes at the beginning. So why don't we wrap up for now? Oops, if you said 90 is okay. Sorry, I didn't fully read through all of them. I'm here for 90 if needed, so there's multiple 90s. So if people want to stay on for 90 minutes, we'll keep going with this discussion. If people need to drop off, we'll drop off. But there were enough that said okay with 90 to keep going for a little bit, all right? So I see a few people have introduced themselves in the chat, and welcome Evelyn from Frankfurt. If you'd like to speak up and introduce yourself, that's great. You don't have to. Feel free to drop people's information in the chat. Anyone else want to comment on maybe challenges that you're having, maybe implementing AI or using it, or use cases that you have questions on? Or does anyone want to comment on those that people have already spoken about? Maybe solutions or alternatives, like, anyone want to jump in there? All right. How about if Nini, do you have comments or thoughts?
Sorry about that. Yeah, not yet. I'm just learning from what everybody's talking and just absorbing what they are facing right now. Oh.
Fair enough. Fair enough. People don't have to answer, but again, I know some people are more shy about speaking up. Andrew, did you want to comment on anything you've heard so far, or questions or challenges that you faced or your organization faced?
Hi, sorry, is my audio clear?
Yep.
Able to hear me? Okay, great. Yeah, so I think I'll introduce myself again. I represent a company called Talion Systems. We're based out of Atlanta, Georgia. Healthcare is our domain we target, but then we are into a few others like fintech and stuff. AI is something which, to be honest, we are trying to explore. Looking implementations, we have not faced much challenges. The reason I'm here is to understand how we target for the AI projects in the healthcare domain. We have been into delivering projects around EHR, dental care, mobile apps around healthcare and stuff, but AI is healthcare projects around AI is something which we are we're trying to at this point in time. So, yeah.
So maybe just kind of playing off that question a little bit, the underlying question is, what area of healthcare AI do you get into? Maybe people have thoughts or comments on there, because you're a development platform, right? So what are the challenges? We heard Maren talk about, integration in with the EMR system or whatnot. But Patrick, did you want to comment?
Yeah, just seeing what I've researched personally. I witnessed a lot of work being done on analysis of images, right? So any form of image, MRI, CAT scan, whatever have you. That I would say the technology itself is proven in a number of different aspects there. It's fairly solid. So it's being utilized. That also being said, you would think that would be taken to the next level from the point of view of, when you're doing blood tests, right? You're compiling a large amount of information and producing a set of results. I would think that could be the next step. I'm not sure. See, like again, we're back to the solution providers, the vendors, and their look on the world, and instead of a broader view. And I don't think that's serving the patient well.
So, about imaging, I just want to mention as we are in talks with a prospect there, and they're looking at AI algorithms around making the DICOM images sharper, and in addition to images which are fed in are not all patients would require that in-depth images for them. So the AI tool should actually be able to understand based on the patient history who needs a more detailed, sharper DICOM image and who doesn't. So, I don't know, maybe somebody who's more he would be able to come up with something.
All right. Any other comments or suggestions people want to make or challenges you're facing? Go ahead, Jack.
I was thinking this through. I put that question in the chat because that's what we saw, which is affects every third-party app out there. There was a trend where it was like an app orchard, and then they started waning the app orchard, and they started making their own things. It was almost like they were picking their own apples from the orchard and said, "We'll make these." I'm talking about Epic specifically, right? But I think they all do it, right? And the thing I had a thought on was, I don't think there's going to be a successful approach to integrating your third party into the EHR. But there may be a successful approach to pulling your personal data out of the EHR and having your own personal layer on top. And that was, unfortunately, Ravi dropped, but I was like, and maybe that's what they're already doing, but you don't need everybody's EHR data. You need yours. And I don't know, and I'm looking at some of the people on the call who know exactly probably how those data streams go in and come out. Can you pull your own data stream? Can you say, listen, Epic, I want all of my data and all my tests out of the EHR on a regular, on a API feed, right? Can you, does that exist?
Personally, I don't know, but I think if provider is asking with particular patient's data, provider can pull that.
Yeah, so why can't your own patient pull it? And that's what I'm looking at. I'm going, the thing is, as soon as you try and integrate your third-party AI solution or whatever into a big EHR, it doesn't behoove them from a business standpoint to let that in, right? It helps the patient, but it doesn't help the
This is something you're
EHR.
suggesting on the patient portal level, where we can add the new feature in the patient portal and provide a additional AI facility or AI feature. Yeah.
But it becomes the EHR's sub,
Correct.
right? It's a sub for the EHR, right? And so that's I think the model of where businesses are going to have to be sold into, right? You're creating a business such that the big behemoth can buy it, right? If you've got enough IP around it. But I was thinking, I'm going, man, I would be fine if I didn't go into my chart to get all my data. If I went into my thing that was a feed out of the EHR. So as I'm trying to solve this problem, all the AI stuff we're talking about can't exist as a layer on top of the EHR these days very well, unless you guys are seeing differently, but that's what I saw. It's making it harder and harder, and the systems can't.
I think DEFCA organization, they are creating something, individual access layer. So basically QHIN, DEFCA, they are providing the access to all the population health, and from there also there is a way to do it. I mean, it's still, we are exploring it, but yeah.
Okay.
I think it's interesting, Jack, knowing a little bit about your background, right? So you both help develop some of the services and products in product development, as well as market them. And so it seems like several of the folks who are on today, Deval, as well as maybe Andrew, they're developing solutions. So maybe do you have advice on how you go about understanding how to develop solutions that then fit the market need? Is that within your space, your wheelhouse?
Yes. So mostly, okay, I'll quickly go ahead. I'll finish my thought in 1 minute. So mostly, right, focus on the problem niche and involve the healthcare expert in the beginning phase. I would suggest that if you don't have a healthcare expertise, domain expertise, along with the LLM, it will be very difficult later in the phase. That's the only suggestion I could make here.
How do you validate the problem is the biggest problem or the right problem to solve?
It's not a biggest problem, it's a problem where a lot of manual work, a lot of resource hours are getting spent, and you're getting a less amount of output. Example I mentioned earlier in the beginning, referral problem in healthcare is one of the challenging problem where nobody's getting money out of it, but it's still the process everybody has to follow. PCP has to send a referral to specialist then book the appointment, and all those takes a lot of time. So that's one of the problem, but we have to find operational problem or challenges where a lot of money are getting spent, which we can improve through AI or automation.
Awesome. Thank you for sharing that. Does anyone else want to bring up a challenge space that they have or that they've been working on, or where they would like input from the group? I know several people, okay, so I'll raise this as a space. I know at least 3 people on the call are potentially open to new opportunities, a new career opportunity. So what is the advice? What is the collective group advice? I think we have, 8 or 10 people on. of how do you find the right space within healthcare and how does AI kind of layer in that? So understand like the challenge, right? So there's lots of opportunities out there, but how do we work in that space to help our clients, or how do we find the right opportunities in that space? Make sense as a question? Networking is obviously part of an answer, but there may be more to it.
Can I ask, like, so you said, hey, find a clinical partner, find a domain expert, find a care pathway expert. How do those people connect with the developers other than in a startup company? Or is there a collaborative or something other than this forum here, where, again, I've got a lot of expertise of how the consumer thinks and feels and how the care goes in the hospital. Is that what you're getting at, David? Is like, how do these connect together?
Well, I guess I was thinking even like, I mean, I know you're open to new opportunities. I think Patrick is, Nini, and others. Is there a collective thought from the group maybe, how do you find those right opportunities? In some ways, there's lots of demand in AI. I mean, AI is a huge topic. Again, we had, dozens and dozens of people say this was the most interesting topic for them. And so all this interest, how do you find the right role in that space? And maybe, people who are in the development side or even some of the provider side maybe have thoughts of how to best move into the space. I don't know if it's the perfect question, but I'm trying to think, again, three of the people on the screen I recognize have some interest in finding that opportunity. What's the best way to do that? I know Nini's background's amazing. She went to Northwestern, incredibly bright, master's degree in data science and things like that. How do we move into the healthcare space where we're applying our skills and using AI? And then again, Jack, I think your skills are amazing. I know some of your background and really have enjoyed some of those conversations. Patrick, I don't know you as well, but I'm sure you have many years of amazing experience that could really, really, add on to organizations. So ideas, thoughts from anyone on the call? No?
I mean, somebody said something. I think it was
saying just a generic thought is that when you talk about AI, application of AI in healthcare, so first you need to identify whether I am looking at application of AI in healthcare or in fintech or whatever space you're looking at. So if you're talking about application of AI in healthcare, healthcare is it's a very vast domain. I mean, like I would just mention a few things in healthcare. What we do is we are into the maybe regular EHR space, radio imaging, dental EHR, remote patient monitoring and stuff, even revenue management. So you need to be a little more pinpointed, need to focus on what specific domain in healthcare you would be looking at and the application of AI in that specific domain. I think there's a lot of opportunity in the market where people are looking at specific domain healthcare experts in healthcare in a specific domain, So if you're looking at an HIE, that is the what you call is the healthcare information exchange domain, where there's a lot of data aggregation and management repositories and stuff happens. So what specific domain are you looking at? Are you looking at telemedicine apps? Whatever would be the specific domain, you need to be an expert there. People look for experts rather than a generic.
Maybe I'm going to try to ask the question a little differently. So thanks for weighing in on that, Andrew. Appreciate that. But I'm thinking about your business, Andrew, right? So you're finding developers. It's a known area. You know how to do it. There's literally probably millions of developers out there in the world. Now, AI is a new space, right? In some ways, of course, been around, you could say 20 years, but the way that it's developing now, the non-technical resources, how do you source them and what skill sets do you look for that? Like, where are the problems in AI where you're like, like if I tell you the problem, you can have a developer develop it, but how do you have almost, it's not the business analyst role because it's more than that, but kind of really, what are the skill sets that you might look for? And Kevin, you might have thoughts on that as well, or Evelyn. So.
Right. So talk about skill set. Definitely. I mean, if you talk about AI again as a generic topic, even before AI, whatever technologies, we look for more of people who speak the language of the vertical. You need to be a healthcare, not a domain expert, but at least somebody who speaks the language of and has some bit of domain expertise in a vertical and the technical. So it has to be a functional and a technical consultant more than just a technical consultant. I mean, from a very broad perspective, I would say.
Yeah. Fair enough. Fair enough. It makes sense. Jack, were you going to say something?
I was going to say maybe a use case on that, like you had said, imaging, right?
Yes.
How did you find the right people for imaging to say this is what needs to be fixed? Is that what you're going at? Like, I think maybe a use case is the best way to find out, like, how do they source the experts that are non-technical?
I think you pointed on the area where it is we're looking for a resource there. We are not able to find a resource in that specific domain. So yeah, there are certain areas where the resources would be niche, the cost would be higher, especially when you attach the AI batch, the cost of resource in the market goes higher. And I, as a business guy, would definitely first look at the cost. So imaging algos in AI is something which is emerging, and it's not easy to find the best resources. So that's why I said earlier that if you are an expert in a domain, within a domain, you have better chances than being a generic expert.
Thanks. And Kevin, did you have something to share there?
I was listening, and one of the things that came to mind is that it's kind of a cliche, but build it and they will come. So one of the things that I did was nobody really understood, at the beginning, AI, very interesting. Oh, it can do this. It can't do this, that type of thing. But I built a large language model for the organization as a test project to show them, hey, look how smart it can be. Look what it can give you, that type of thing, right? During that time, I was also able to identify the limitations, and I was working towards adjusting those limitations. For example, making sure the right information is available, making sure that the information could be updated. For example, if an answer was provided, is it the right answer? What can we do immediately to make adjustments? So if you see an opportunity, build out a prototype. That's my suggestion, because people want to buy a finished car, not as much the concept of the car. If you can show them, hey, look what it can do, and then you get their eyes to light up, that is the moment that you know that all the effort that you put into what you're doing was worthwhile. So that's what I wanted to share.
Awesome. Appreciate that contribution as well. All right, I think we'll move towards wrapping up. Appreciate all the input from today. It was a pretty good active session, and we had quite a few people show up, so thanks for that. Every month we're doing this or planning on doing this. Just keep an eye out both on our company page, eprenz.com, on LinkedIn, and then we also have eprenz.com, a small community you can join in, and it's free to join the community at eprenz.com. And in there, we will be posting our events. We also have networking events about every week where you get a chance to meet other folks. We're going to start beefing that one up so that we get 20, 30, 40 people in that event as well. So you can interact with people in different fields or even in the same field as well.